a very special guest from overseas in Uganda. Andrew, good morning, brother. Welcome. Why don't you tell everybody a little bit about yourself? What's your full name?
My name, I'm called Andrew Buluba. I'm from Uganda in Africa.
Awesome. So, you were telling me a little bit, you have a twin brother, is that correct?
Yes, yeah, we are twin brothers. I am called Andrew, and then my twin brother is called Agre.
And so they're in Africa, you were saying twins, they're often named with European or Christian names, is that right?
No, everyone in Africa has got both a traditional name and then the religious name, the Christian name. When you're Christian, you have got a Christian name alongside the traditional name. Then when you're Muslim, still you have got the traditional name and then the Islamic name.
Awesome. That's cool. So do you have a tribal name as well?
What?
Do you have an African name from like the tribal name or anything like that?
My African name I'm called Buluba. Buluba is my name.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about what you and I have been talking for a little while, man, and what we've really been talking a lot about is despite our differences, there's a lot that we have in common. And tell us a little bit about what life is like over there in Uganda.
In Uganda, there is a certain kind of life that we are used to, we are accustomed to, and when we read about life in Europe, life in America, the life that you're living there, we just sense there is a big difference here. Because right now, uh, just beginning from the time, even before you set your foot on soil out of your mother's womb, you begin experiencing the hard life here.
Yes.
Uh, we are born, most of Africans produce children, sometimes even when they don't know where they are going to live. They don't
Hmm.
know where they are going to provide for. The things that we hear of in America that someone is producing children, is planning for the children's education, health, or something like that. They don't exist here. We get raised just out of sheer luck. A parent producing a child doesn't plan, has not even planned, does not even have the man that is going to take the mother to hospital for producing, and the problems begin. It is just a lucky few who survive childhood, get raised into they become adults. Example, my mother, she had 9 children, and out of 9, it is 3 of us that survived. Me, my twin brother, and then our youngest sister, Rachel.
Wow. So
So
what would you,
quite different from what life is that side and this side, but still we manage, and that is not it's not something that is strange to us.
yeah. Yeah, I was telling you, I've had, my life has been very privileged. I've not had a lot of, financial struggle or things like that, but, I've struggled with addiction in my life and various traumas. You work with some boys there that, struggle with addiction, children of war, things like that.
Yes.
Is that a real problem in Africa as well, addiction?
First of all, just like the very many problems that bring out this addiction, people get addicted to drug when they are fighting, when they are trying to fight with some psychological issues in their brains.
Mm-hmm.
So, being exposed to extreme poverty, where you don't have you have been produced, your parents don't care, the father don't care, don't have anybody that cares, you have not gone to school, or you have gone to school and things have not worked out. So when they get in that kind of dilemma, they get that confusion, and they
Right.
resort to
Mm-hmm.
drugs, alcohol, and all sorts of things. So the addiction is the biggest thing. I try to interact with the few people out of my non-profit that I'm running right now that have been battling with addiction, and I realized about 3 categories of people. Other people are very proud of what they are doing. They know they have a problem, and they think the solution is the drugs they are using.
Absolutely.
Other people know they are having a problem, and they need a solution,
Mm-hmm.
but the solution must complement the drug they are using. Then
I've been
another
there.
person realizes that the drug addiction has affected him, and then desperately wants a way out. So
Yep.
our role is normally teaching them, regardless of trying to find out what their problem is currently, and then trying to fight out with them, telling them that the problem is not the drug you're using. The addiction is not the solution to the problem that you have, but it's rather another problem. Before we tackle the problem that you're having, we need to first get them psychologically prepared to fight addiction, so that they become free, then you can run other things. Otherwise, addiction is the biggest problem here. And in fact, it creates a vicious circle of problems. Because somebody who is addicted is not going to have, does not have where to sleep, does not have any preparation, but regardless of all that, they are going to be producing children. I was talking about, with one addict who is just 23 years, but is having 11 children, but does not even have where to sleep. So what do you expect? There is going to produce children who are equally neglected, and once they're neglected, the only person they would be looking up to as their role model is going to be their father, who is a drug addict, and then to become just like that. They don't go to school. They don't have any pre-plans for the future. They don't have a future. So drugs become the solution until when they die. And to make matters worse, here in Uganda, we have got the epidemic of HIV/AIDS.
Yes.
HIV/AIDS is also the biggest problem, because people who are exposed, they are as much exposed to sex.
Right.
Unprotected, and then the result is HIV/AIDS, and then death, like that. Death, early pregnancies, and then death.
What are some of the approaches that people try to take? What are some of the approaches with regards to helping addicts? What do people know of? Here in America, when I stopped drugs, I would turn to things such as, money, gambling, sex. So when we stopped taking the drugs, you're right in saying that you still need to fulfill that with another solution. But for me, you had to completely stop all drugs and alcohol in order to get well. What type of approaches there in Africa are there? What type of awareness of recovery from addiction do you know of in Africa?
Yes, the problem in Africa is that there are no rehabilitation centers. The few rehabilitation centers that are established in the country are very expensive, and it is they are only used by children from rich families, because they are going to charge a lot of money. I have been, because personally I'm running a non-profit, and this has been the field of my concern, is a field of my concern, fighting and helping drug addicts and former addicts to settle in life. I plan, once I get some resources, to establish a rehabilitation center. I call upon these people. They come just because sometimes even psychologically they just need to be talked to.
Yep.
Sometimes they need to also feel useful, because now they are hopeless. Yep. They don't think, they feel they just need to get somewhere to belong to. So
That's
once
right.
them, and then tell them that still they can change, and
That's
then we try to share experiences of people who have fought addiction, and they have successfully managed to get out of that. It is some solution that can do it, can help. The problem is, I want you to mark my words. When I tell you that there is poverty in Uganda, poverty in Africa, does not mean that Africa is a poor continent, that Africans are all poor. But it means, brother, it means that the rich are very rich, and the poor are very poor.
Yes.
There is a difference in the relationships of the people in Uganda, in Africa, wherever, in Malawi, in Zambia, in Zimbabwe, wherever you have been, is that the poor people and the rich people are enemies.
Interesting.
Previously, I've been a politician. I was in politics because
Hmm.
when I tried to think, because my dream has always been about helping the children, about helping children. So when I was working on this, I discovered a lot of things. Politicians get money, and I will surely get a lot of money if I wanted to continue that, because my father was a politician at the national level. So I had those connections and I would get all that. But I realized that the more somebody succeeds in the political field, the gap, the more the gap that he gets in between you and the local people and the public. Because the people are very poor. It means that if you are going to be a politician normally they don't even build where they are leading they were what their subject. They transfer to the county and live in luxuries at the
Hmm.
expense of the people. So I wanted to be friendly towards the people who are suffering, and that's
Yeah.
what a politician is. And even if you did that as a politician, you would be fought and you will not succeed the following day. So I chose completely to live for humanity, not for money. I graduated. When I left school, I had all these opportunities, but then I gave up and I worked helping the people, because that's the difference that we want. We need a
Yeah.
lot of people who are going to come on board. You have been asking the solution that are being provided here. The problem is that most of the people here have got similar problems. This one is not having a problem with an addiction, but the poverty is too high.
Mm.
So these people uh, much occupied with the problem that they're having them, to the extent that they don't have another time left to handle the problems of others.
Hmm.
So normally here,
Yeah.
once somebody gets into an addiction, it is a sure ticket to deterioration until somebody dies.
Yeah.
Because even the community is going to rule them off, rule them out, and they are just like that until when they die. And
Right.
there are some. We have a problem here of mob justice is very big. When somebody is using drugs and there's been any issue in the society, they're just going to gang on that person, and then you find them clobbering them to death. That is
Yeah.
the problem that happens here, brother.
What are there laws against drugs there in Africa? Are there limits and legalities around drugs and alcohol?
Come again?
Are drugs illegal there in Africa? Did they try to set laws to make drug consumption or selling illegal where you live?
Yeah, there are some laws. There are some laws, but most of the laws, especially in my country, they are very passive.
Yeah.
Because we know cocaine. Cocaine is illegal.
Okay.
Marijuana, but it is freely on the markets, and nobody has ever been convicted. So it is just in a theory, but people get drugs. They of that like that.
Right. That makes sense. Um, I was curious about the topic of racism in Africa. Does racism occur in your country? I don't know how many white people you encounter over there. What do you think about racism with regards to, you and I have been talking a lot about, our differences, and yet we have so many similarities in our feelings underneath and a desire to ultimately help people. Does racism occur over there in your country?
No, racism in my country completely doesn't occur. It completely doesn't occur. We have got some ethnic differences, because, like I told you, my country has got over 100 tribes speaking 100 different languages. I think
Hmm.
130 different tribes, but we are all black people. And then when, of course, all Africans look at white people with admiration. We have got a very big population of Indians, Asians who are in the country. We have got hundreds of thousands of Chinese in the country. We have got people from Europe. We have got so many of them. But in my country, white people are treasured, and then the rest are blacks.
Yes.
So there is, I have, I in Africa there is completely. nothing like racism. Nothing like racism.
Interesting. You mentioned one of the biggest difficulties is the rich people and the poor people kind of hate each other. And in our country, because the United States is a melting pot in the sense that we have a lot of different races here. And I think the biggest thing with racism, or even the rich versus the poor, is an inability to understand one another, and I think a lot of people have said intimidation is when we just don't understand one another. Would you agree with that?
I beg your pardon?
Would you agree with it that difficulties with regard to racism and the challenge and the struggles between the rich and the poor is a matter of not understanding and not being willing to help one another?
Yeah, I think there is a difference because maybe in America, what I think is that people get rich out of hard work,
Mm-hmm.
but in Africa, a rich person must first exploit the poor people. And then the poor people have got that they know that these people are enjoying the luxury at the expense of them.
Mm.
For example, the rich people, a rich man would come to a place and dislocate or maybe thousands of people from the land where they are settled, and he comes and he builds. Then they
Yeah.
send them in the ghettos, in the bad places there, and then they begin living there. Their children are enjoying luxurious lives.
Mm-hmm.
They are very corrupt. They are taking a lot of money from the public, and then when their children fall sick, they fly them over to Europe, to France, to America, to South Africa for treatment, and this on the ground they keep on suffering. That is the difference. And even the rich people, the rich people, they know they just use these poor people. Just even when they are building their, even when where they are building, they try to restrict the public from accessing their premises because they know they can never be friends. They know the rich people know they have already harmed the
Yeah.
poor people, and then the poor people are angry, are also angry. So that is
Yeah.
the difference between the poverty in my country and the poverty that side.
Yeah. So you said that you're working on a nonprofit right now, brother. What are some of your goals, and ultimately, what would you like to see? What do you envision for your future and for the future of your people there in Uganda? Ultimately, what do you think you can do to help, and what would you say, to us here in America? How can, people here in America help as well?
The problem I have, the biggest issue that brought me into non-profit work, concentrating on children, is because is the way the system, the administration in my country neglects children.
Mm,
They tend to focus on the people who have grown up, not knowing that they must first be children until before they become old people. I am I'm running my non-profit, focusing on helping young people. And I drew my inspiration way back in 2001. Are you there?
yes.
In 2001, I had my brother was called Bernard. Bernard was bitten by a snake. We were living along at the river banks, and then he was bitten by a snake. Once he was bitten by the snake, the nearest dispensary or facility was something like 20 kilometers away from home. And the only means of transport which was there was a bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
On a bicycle, and there was so many people around there. And what they did, they asked us to wait. They said, just because this one is a young child, let us wait and give the priority to people who have grown up because they are more important. And then my brother lived on the veranda of the hospital until when he breathed his last. We kept on urging them. I kept on asking them, please keep on looking, don't leave. And we had to wait to watch, open his eyes, started struggling for breath until at last, when he breathed his last, And that is not an isolated case. Just like I told you, we are 9, and right now we are 3. Even my
Mm.
siblings passed on just because like that.
Yeah.
The health system, because it could not sustain all the people, they would choose to let the younger ones die
Yeah.
and save the people who are mature, arguing that they are more important.
Right.
My dream is to make a life a little simpler. In my area, I want to set up, mobilize, get resources, and set up a pediatrics facility where people, young children, young vulnerable children, would go and receive treatment free of charge. At least that. I am already running, working with many orphans. Some
Hmm.
of them we are them. Some very poor people who do come, they don't have any choice.
Yeah.
In Africa, this in my society, this is somewhere where you can find a mother after producing a child, just producing like this, and then dumps the child there and then goes. Not basically because it does not have the heart, but because it does not have the means of sustaining. And still in her spirit thinks that by dropping the child there, maybe by luck, there is a possibility that he will go and find a good Samaritan and live a better life than what she can afford to survive.
Right.
Just last 3 weeks, I had a boy at my organization. He was dropped by a teenage mother who had conceived when he was 14 years.
Wow.
And then after, the father disappeared. So after that, they brought the boy, and then abandoned him at the health facility, and then we took him on.
Mm.
It was because of malaria. He got malaria outbreak, and still because the facilities were
Yeah.
for big people. We got him there, and because of the delay, he passed on, and we had to bury him.
Wow.
This is not an isolated case. There are so many cases like this one that keep on happening every
Hmm.
now and then, and nobody seems to care.
Yeah.
We are in society where everybody is preoccupied by things that concern them, and people who need the assistance, they are not there. There is no way out for them.
Yeah.
So it is my aim to try my love best, help my people, my society, and live a life like that.
Yes.
That is
So
the only thing that give me satisfaction.
in large part, it sounds like there's a large lack of opportunity, lack of finances, and lack of awareness and knowledge of what to do. Tell us how far, we were talking last night. How far would $1,000 or $10,000 go there in Africa?
Yeah, like I said, like when I was speaking about setting up a pediatric facility, the one I'm thinking about, I think the budget would be 10,000. With $10,000, I would be in position to buy a piece of land and set up the structures that I need. Then, and you set up the structures and put in the most of the things that we need in the facility that can handle at least about 50 people, about 50 children, about 50 children,
Yeah.
and then we can get even the staff. We can keep on mobilizing for how we can support the staff throughout like that. How we can the people who are going to be attending the nurses and maybe the doctor. You can get doctors and like something like that.
That's amazing, brother. In my area, I would guess 1 million to 5 million for what you're talking about. It would be the starting point here in the United States. It blows my mind. I think you were saying a modest house would be like $1,000. Is that right?
What?
Did you say a moderate mid-sized house would probably be, you could build one for like $1,000 there?
Yeah, with $1,000 you can build a moderate house. You can, yeah, $1,000 to do that. Yeah, because I can't. You cannot imagine that somebody would build a house out of $100.
Right.
Yes, 100, regardless of how it looks like, but with 100 or even less than $100, and then somebody would like that.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, brother, I really appreciate your time so much. I've got some other information, with regard to helping your cause that I'm going to send you, helping you with some ideas with addiction. And, I really appreciate you. I'm glad we found each other and that our paths have crossed. I believe this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship. And, I appreciate you. And, I love you like a brother, man. Is there anything else you want to say to everyone?
Yeah, I would emphasize one thing is prayers, praying the Lord. That is the only thing that restores hope.
Yes.
And then another thing is always trying your level best to be content and thank the Lord for what you have,
Amen.
because life is so hard outside there. Because even when I speak, I can say, I can be lamenting about when I say my monthly salary is around $100, but there are people who not get $100 throughout there. Just
Mm.
it happens in the country. Some people
Yes.
are talking about the money, and some doesn't have where to sleep. It is the things that happening there here.
Mhm.
Young girls, I told you, I was telling you the other day, I was in contact with a family where the mother had decided to sell off her daughter to a certain property old man just because he wanted to feed the rest of the children. Doesn't have anything to eat. And then
Yes.
the girl wants to school is the only item that is there that he can use to get money to look after the rest of the children. And it's the kind of life. It's not a choice, but that is the only thing. And even the child, the daughter, in pain, when even she was crying, she decided to accept just for the sake of saving her siblings, her young brothers and sisters. And these are so many things that are happening. So
Yeah.
I would just say, do not always complain a lot because of the present situation that you are going through.
Yes.
There are people who are going through worse than what you think about.
Absolutely.
Yeah, then uh, all the people in America, you send my regards to them and say we love them so much.
I will, brother. What do you picture life like here in America? What do you picture it to be like here? You said you've never been, but what do you picture life is like here?
You know, I have been using America. I've been using America as the yardstick. Hello.
What's that? Say
Yeah,
again.
as the yardstick of a Uganda, I want to see for the young children where a girl child is not forced into marriage against their will just because the parents want to raise money to support the family,
Right.
where the boys are not sent into the fields to look after cattle, to go on the road to sell things just to raise income
Yeah.
for their parents. Not
Right.
where a father would marry so many women just because he wants to have as many as 50 children, so that they are going to go to the garden, cultivate, and help him to fund his budget of marrying again.
Right.
Where children, where young girls are not forced into marriage just because the parent wants to raise money to get a wife for his son. That's what normally happens. A parent
Yeah.
sells the daughter to marry so that he gets some money to buy a wife for another for his son.
Yeah.
I mean, in a country where children are treated equally, they are given preferences, where education is not a luxury, is not limited to a few individuals who are just fortunate, but where everybody education becomes the right. Somebody, regardless of where you are born, you can go to school, study, and have a life, have a normal life. In Africa, we don't demand a lot. We're not saying that we want houses that are going to be flowing with water. That's way beyond what we can achieve right now. Running water in the house, electricity may not be there, but at least when somebody has got some hope, has got some rights are protected, there are people who are going to look after them. When they
Mm.
are sick, they have somewhere to go and get treatment.
Mm-hmm.
Just like picking the example from America, though I know we're not going to find things like that. And then
Yeah.
I'll tell you my dream. Uh, you asked me whether I have ever dreamed about coming to America. Yes, I want to come to America
Right.
and meet people and speak to them. give my testimony on behalf of my brothers and sisters in Uganda, in Zambia, in Ghana, in South Pakistan, who are going through this kind of life. I didn't tell you I was born in a war-torn Uganda during the war. I was born in a war period, and there's a lot that we experienced. The trauma that you live with right from childhood that comes and affects you once you grow up. All those things, I just want to tell them, please love each other and show others some love and hope.
That's it,
I
man.
think, brother.
That's it. Man, I appreciate you, Andrew, so much, brother. God willing, one day we will meet and be able to give each other a hug, my friend.
Okay.
All right, brother. I appreciate your time. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thank you very
All right.
much.
Take care, man. Bye bye.
Bye. Oh, Shaun.
Yes.
Shaun, I am. My mother wants to say hi.
Awesome.
How are you?
Hey, brother. How you doing, man? What's your name?
What's your name?
My name is Omar Augustine.
Omar.
It is my child, this is my son.
Awesome.
We are struggling in Uganda to have a
Yes.
problem.
Yes.
Then you are talking about race. You are about races. Oh, come, boy, baby,
Yeah.
come. Oh, this one run away. Anyway, okay, it's okay. Nice time. Thank you for your time. Bye
All right.
bye.
See you, buddy. I'll talk